More Tom Robbins. I read Jitterbug Perfume by Tom Robbins in 2010. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads, and I wrote this about it late that year. My disclaimer about this book should be that I love Tom Robbins' writing. There's very little he can do wrong for me. Even when I fall out of love with one of his stories, his style entertains me so much that I continue reading without annoyance. With that said, I was fully prepared to give this book a lukewarm review based on the somewhat slow and predictably salacious story that acts as the main course to this book. However, the last 100 pages or so is filled with some of my favorite themes in art and literature. In any medium, to get a glance into an artist's interpretation of creation, the meanings of life, and what unknowable truths live or fail to live after death is of an immediate interest to me. For it to come from my favorite author and plotted into the end of this book was a special treat. I think new Robbins readers will be bored a bit by the early non sequitur shockery that the rest of us know and love so well. But anyone who rides the jitterbug to the end will catch some beautiful images of belief and metaphor that are indicative of the entire Robbins library. And that's the thing that I remember most about Jitterbug Perfume. I don't remember the long what I'm even describing here as slow or even boring parts from the beginning, talking about the pan and the search for life through the olfactory. Personally, I love fragrance. Fragrance is a super important thing to me. So I thought that would be something that would be triggering in a positive way for me about this book. But that story, that search, the search of the pan through the bulk of the book was not interesting to me at all. And then when I finally got to this final section, and I'll probably have to put like a message on YouTube about this being one of my more spoilery reviews, but when you get to the last 100 pages and you start talking about, and Tom Robbins starts talking about these ideas of the other parts of existence, of life and death, and what moves beyond our simple understanding of reality as it is, that's the stuff I love. That's the thing that I love so much about what I was calling this genre, which I was calling it, abstract fiction. It's not science fiction, it's not fantasy fiction, but it's also not based on reality. So I'm calling it abstract fiction. And so then I get into that as this sort of genre that I like, and then getting into these sort of concepts that are really deep about what's otherworldly about the human experience based on Tom Robbins' idea. I loved that. And so it kicked me in the pants at the end, and I loved it at the end. So if you love Tom Robbins, this is a good one to go to. But if you are, like I said, if you're just starting with Tom Robbins, I wouldn't start with this one. This is the second one in my set of reviews that I'm going to talk about. There's also a number of other ones that I've read by Tom Robbins. He is my most read author, and in the review I called him my favorite author. He's definitely in the group. I don't know if it's necessarily what I would call my favorite, but I would read just about any Tom Robbins just to get to those sort of special moments of abstract fiction that'll connect with the concepts that I care about, because I feel like each of the Tom Robbins books that I've read have had a section like that. So glowing always about Tom Robbins. I give it the 4 out of 5 instead of the 5 out of 5 because of that early part that I didn't find super interesting, but I still love his writing. And there'll be more books that I talk about as reviews of Tom Robbins as we go, and there may even be a favorite. I'm not sure if there's one on this list, but there may even be a favorite from Tom Robbins later in this list. So this one, Jitterbug Perfume by Tom Robbins. I read it in 2010. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. Till next.